Yeah. Yes. 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 Welcome to the DAN show, man. I got a great show. I got coffee here. Very jacked up. Very jacked up. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I am streaming over on YouTube. And it looks like I am on YouTube, so I am good to go. I'm going to start off. I am not a college football expert. I don't have a huge knowledge of college football. It's something I've been working on doing more of, watching more college football, trying to get a better idea of how good the teams are, putting action down on college football. But I do have an opinion on the BCS College Football Championship Series. I keep calling it the Final Four. We all know that it's not really called the Final Four, but it's basically the Final Four. So, Scott, what is up, brother? James, Merry Christmas to you. James, I got your emails. It's actually funny. We're the Lions are the second team on the docket. We are going to talk a lot of what's going on with the Lions, and this might be a good opportunity to take advantage of what's going on in Detroit. So I'm glad you gave me the heads up on it. And Scott, man, Merry Christmas, man. I appreciate all the text messages. It was pretty funny. Just some funny Christmas stuff here. But let's start off with college football. In case you don't know, the way it works is that the number one team in the country will play the number 4 team in the country. The number 2 team in the country will play the number 3 team. The winner of those 2 games will play in the national championship. Number 1 is Alabama. Number 2 is Clemson. Number 3 is Ohio State. Number 4 is Notre Dame. What it should be, in my opinion. Again, I'm an NFL expert. I'll put my NFL knowledge against anybody. I will put my NFL knowledge against anybody. I feel confident in that. College football, I can't. So, but here's my opinion. The number 3 team should not be Ohio State. I think it should be Cincinnati. Cincinnati won the American Football Conference, the former Big East Conference. They beat a pretty good Tulsa team. A Tulsa team that's got several NFL players. Now, I'm not talking first-round draft picks. We got several NFL players. Players I really like. They played in a very fun game, a very good game in the rain. It was one of the best games I've seen. But bottom line, I think I am a very small minority, but I've watched Ohio State play twice and I've watched Cincinnati play twice. I think Cincinnati would actually beat Ohio State. If they played head-to-head, I think Cincinnati would win. Does Ohio State have more athletes? Is Ohio State sending more people to the NFL? Sure. Michigan last year sent 10 players to the draft. I think they were like 8-5. I really think that Cincinnati and Ohio State, if they were to play head-to-head this year, I 100% believe Cincinnati would win. I think they would come in motivated. I think they would hit harder. I think they would play more together. Because when I watch Ohio State, I see a bunch of players are going into the NFL. I don't see a great team. Yeah, listen, Fields is he's my number 3 quarterback. And I love his game. But I'm telling you right now, Cincinnati, I think, would beat Ohio State. They played head-to-head. Denver Gator, welcome, brother. Merry Christmas to you. No Christmas show, unfortunately. But, man, I want you to have a Merry Christmas. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Michigan's going to have several players that go into the draft. They always do. Same issue with Ohio State. But I've watched Ohio State play. They don't play together like Clemson or Alabama. They just don't have a good team cohesiveness. I've watched them play, and I see a bunch of good players. I 100% believe Cincinnati would just punch them in the mouth. They would out-hit them. They would out-tough them. They would outplay them. I 100% believe Cincinnati would beat Ohio State. I think Ohio State would probably be a 7.5, 7-point favorite, and Cincinnati would win. The number 4 team that should be in is Texas A&M. Bottom line, what's the best football conference in the country? It's the SEC. Why not put the top 2 teams in SEC? And all due respect to Florida, but I have not watched Texas A&M play all year. I watched them play several times last year, and that was a good team. That Kellen Mond is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. And if you're not familiar with this is I'm drawing a blank on his name. The Texas A&M head coach. His name will come to me in a second. He came from Florida State, helped Florida State win the national championship, got a bunch of great players. Florida State had a bad year. They decided to fire him. A&M gave him, I think it was a 6-year, $50 million. It's something ridiculous. I mean, he's getting paid almost $10 million a year, and he's doing a world-class job. Texas A&M. By the way, if you're not familiar with Texas, they take their football serious, and Texas A&M takes their football very serious. The best college football conference is SEC, not the ACC. Even if you're an ACC fan, even Jimbo Fisher, thanks Denver Gator. I don't know. I'm sorry, Jimbo Fisher. I forget that name, but you know how I am. Why not have the team with the best conference have 2 teams in there? It really should be Texas A&M. Yeah, they lost to Alabama. Shouldn't they get a second shot? Cincinnati versus Clemson. But here's the thing. You're going to see Bama versus Clemson. You're going to see 1 and 2. I think that it's all for the money. I'm not saying anything out of the ordinary, anything special, anything different. Bottom line, I just think that Cincinnati and A&M should be in. I think Notre Dame and Ohio State should be out. And here's the thing. You would have some really good bowl games. You would have some really good bowl games if it was work out that way. You would have had a very good opportunity to have Ohio State against USC, but USC lost in the Pac-10. USC vouched out a bowl game because they were playing a crap bowl game, but you could have Ohio State against Oregon, which really is not that good of a game. But let me ask you this. How would you feel about a Florida-Ohio State game or a Florida-Notre Dame game? Those are some good games right there. But yeah. All right, man, I'm going to get some of these comments. I wish somebody for the Big Ten would knock off the SEC. Good luck. I think Ohio State will lose big to Clemson. I think Clemson just I think line 7.5. I didn't bother checking, but I think I would be shocked if Clemson really put it to Ohio State. Northwestern's a good team. I mean, they deserve to be ranked. I don't think they're the 14th best team in the country, but they should have beat Northwestern by more than 20. Northwestern came to play. And that was a fun game. But bottom line, I just don't think Ohio State this year. Now, here's the thing. If you want to talk rosters, they're talented. They have the same amount of talent as Alabama and Clemson, believe it or not. I just don't think they play together as a team. I watched them play a couple times. They're not cohesive. It's not a great team. They're not the 4th best team in the country. Bottom line, they are not. Thanks for reminding me it was Jimbo Fisher. It drove me nuts. I think if the Lions lose out, they could get Trey Lance. Absolutely. When the draft comes. But I will say this. I've been looking at mock drafts already. All the mock drafts have Sewell, I think it's Sewell, the Oregon left tackle going to Cincinnati at 3. He's not going there. I don't know how to. I keep telling people this and they ignore it. 2 years ago, the Bengals drafted Jonah Williams. They like him as the left tackle. All right. You have your quarterback, you have your left tackle. I think what the Bengals are going to do at 3, and spoiler alert, and we'll ruin the draft. I think they're going to draft Lamar Chase, the LSU wide receiver. When Joe Burrow was at LSU, Justin Jefferson was wide receiver number 2. Lamar Chase was wide receiver number 1. That's what's going to happen, not Sewell. I keep trying to tell people this, but a lot of things could happen. But the reason why I bring that up is because Sewell, if another team picks him, so it goes 1, 2, will be 2 quarterbacks. Then you have a wide receiver. Then you have a left tackle. Then you get to choose between Fields and Lance. And honestly, I think the difference is Fields has much more upside. Lance could start right away. I personally would stick with Stafford. I like Stafford a lot, but I know how you feel, James. I know how you feel. And that's actually a very interesting game, and we're going to get into that right away. I'm a diehard SEC fan, but it comes down to the dollar set. It does. It does. What do you think? I think A&M should be in. I think it should be A&M over Notre Dame's not a top 4 team. Ohio State's not a top 4 team. I'm not sure A&M is. I'm really not sure A&M is. I'll be honest with you. But I think Cincinnati, they deserve it. They deserve it. I really think they deserve it. Can they hang with either one of those 2 teams? I think they would be a lot more competitive than Ohio State's going to be. I think the line for Notre Dame Bama is like 20.5. But I mean, ultimately, what's going to happen, no matter who you put in there, it's going to be Alabama and Clemson. There's one different level than everybody else. Florida would beat both Ohio State and Notre Dame, but really looking forward to beating Oklahoma. Let's go. You are right, but be very scared of Oklahoma. Oklahoma has some talent. I just saw one of their starters is skipping the bowl game to prepare for the draft. I forget who it is, but be careful. Oklahoma has some really good players. They lost 2 games earlier in the season. Since then, they have been really good. Be warned. Oklahoma is a good team. But would Florida beat Ohio State and Notre Dame? The answer is yes. Florida, I think, would really beat up both of these teams. If Florida's offense is really good, defense so-so, and Florida's running game's also so-so. But, man, their passing attack's as good as anybody. And one thing about Ohio State's secondary is not that good. Now, Notre Dame does have a good defense, but I don't think that they can really handle the Florida receivers. So, yeah, I agree with you. Be warned, though. Oklahoma's a lot better than you probably think. That's going to be a fun game. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. That's a game I'm really excited for. I don't have a dog in the fight. So, Scott, I'll get to that, Scott. Lance one, yeah. I could see Lance or Fields. I wanted to see Cincy. Me too. And I think that I really 100% believe Cincinnati. I don't know if they're one of the 4 best teams in the country, but I 100% believe that they would beat Ohio State. 100% agree with that. Man, man, well done, man. I'm glad you're in. I'm going to talk a little bit about Titans. I got a question for you. They should get Wilson instead of Lance. I'm going to tell you this one, Pride 40. Wilson's going number 2. He's going number 2. I DVR'd the UCF BYU game. I wanted to get more of a watch of them. Then I saw at the gym they're up 35-0, and I saw some highlight reels of him. He's going number 2. He's not going to be available. He's going number 2. The draft is going to go Tannehill Wilson. Doesn't matter. What's your opinion of the Lions bouncing their special teams coach? It is a good move. I didn't know that the special teams coach called the fake kick, and it was smart to just get rid of the guy. It kind of shows that the special teams coach didn't have enough respect for the head coach, and Did I say Tannehill again? I keep Trevor Lawrence. I am so sorry. I've done this several times. Trevor Lawrence, Wilson. That's how the draft's going to go. All right. So sorry about that. But no, it's a smart move. You got to let him go. So he didn't respect Bevel enough. He didn't respect him enough. He just said, well, let's just do it. He should have been fired. That's what good organizations do. And I keep hearing Robert Saleh's going to Detroit. If he's smart, he begs Bevel to stay. So, yeah. Yes, they did lose to K-State. They started season 2-2, won 6 straight, and then Oklahoma, since that loss. Now they got this, and here's the real, this kid Spencer Rattler. He was a redshirt freshman. I think he's a redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore. He's good. And somebody mentioned to me that there's this high school quarterback in Seattle that's coming to Oklahoma. He may start as a true freshman over Spencer Rattler. But it took a little bit of time for them to get going. But over the last several games, if they played the full season and everything, and Ohio State's a good team. Ohio State's a good team. I'm sorry. Iowa State's a good team. I hated the all black look that they showed, and that was stupid. But anyway. A&M, great team, better than Ohio State, but wouldn't be competitive against the top 4 this year. I do agree with that. I will say this. I haven't watched A&M play, but Jimbo Fisher has been building a really, really good football team, and Kellen Mond is really good. Kellen Mond is really good. I don't know if he has tools to go to the next level, but I think he's easily one of the best, I'm going to say 15, 20 college football quarterbacks. He can do a lot of things. A&M's a really good team. Really good team. April. Justin Fields is one trip to a strip club without wearing a mask away from me. I was wondering if anybody compares the two. They look a lot similar, but they're really drastically different quarterbacks. Fields is more of a runner, but Haskins is really, believe it or not, he's almost a pure pocket passer, not really a scrambler, not really a runner. Really, really good arm talent. Bad choice that he went to a strip club. It'll be interesting what the Redskins do. Some people think the Redskins are going to take a quarterback in this year's draft. I have no idea. I think Fields is really going to impress at the combine. You got to remember, this is a big kid who's very athletic, who's a winner. But there's going to be a lot of comparisons between Fields and Haskins. But I really think they're different type of players. So CJ Moore got the first down on that play. I'm not sure what you're referring to, James. I'm sorry, brother. I am. I have no idea why I keep calling Trevor Lawrence Ryan Tannehill, but I am really bad with names. I am terrible with names, but I know what I'm doing. So Jets might go offensive tackle. No, because they went offensive tackle in this year's draft, and they love the guy. And I'm drawing Becton. They went Becton in the first round. Becton is the best player on that team right now. And so no, the Jets will not go offensive tackle. Now, One Pride 40, the Jets could actually trade that pick. They could trade the first round pick. They could trade the first pick in the draft easily. So Dimitrioff will be our GM. That would be a good move. I know you're not that high on him. Thomas Dimitrioff's an excellent GM. And he would be something it would be a big upgrade. I'd be very interested to see how he runs the team because in Atlanta with Matt Ryan, you have a very similar quarterback in Stafford. All right. I'd be interested if he's going to go ahead and do the same philosophy. And that's, okay, I have a superstar quarterback. Let's bring in a defensive-minded coach. Let's get good on the defensive side of the ball. The one negative is that Dimitroff does come from the Belichick tree, so there's a lot of similarities there. It'll be interesting. But Dimitroff's a good fit, and he's a really good GM. So, do I believe Fields is a bust? Do you mean Haskins? Are you talking Haskins? And if you say Haskins, if you mean Haskins, I'm going to say no, not yet. But his time in Washington may come to an end. Keep in mind, Ron Rivera did not. There was all sorts of talk that Ron Rivera was not going to. Are we talking Justin Fields here? Maybe I need to drink a little more coffee. We're talking Ohio State quarterback, or are we talking Haskins? Am I getting? Are we talking about the Ohio State quarterback here? The fake punt. Okay, you're talking. Okay, let me back up here. Okay, you're okay. Let me back up here. He is talking about CJ Moore on the fake punt. Okay, and I'm sorry, I didn't know the guy's name. I thought he got first down on the replay. It looked like first down, but bottom line, you can't do it. You can't call a fake punt and not tell the head coach. You don't do it. The way it works is that you go ahead and you present different options to pull a fake punt, extra point, etc. And the head coach puts an option that says, okay, in this type of scenario, we'll do it. You don't do it without giving the head coach. It really, he should have been fired. It was a smart move. Doesn't matter if it worked. Even if it worked, he still gets fired. If you're talking about get another New England GM, I'm sorry, I got a little lost on here. But as far as Ohio State quarterback, Denver Gator, don't think Fields is a bust if he's not worth all the hype. The hype's there, and I think the hype. Okay, I'm just going to go through these real fast. Okay, the hype is there, and it deserves to be. He's right now almost universally. Everybody has him as a top 5 pick, and he should be a top 5 pick. The reason why he gets some negativity is because he keeps being associated with Dwayne Haskins, who's had some bad issues. He's not Dwayne Haskins. Yes, he plays quarterback at Ohio State. They have a similar build. They're not the same type of quarterbacks. Dwayne Haskins was a pocket passer. Fields is not. Fields is a guy he's going to go to the combine. He's going to be about 6'3", 230. I don't know if he runs a 40. It would not surprise me if he runs in the 4.6 range, and he's going to look really good throwing the football. He's got a lot more experience. Haskins was a one-year wonder, but when they asked Urban Meyer who's the best, quarterback, and this is in last year's draft, he said it was Haskins. Haskins over Justin Burrow by a large margin. He had to leave Ohio State because he never would have got a chance to start because Haskins was that good. But because Haskins has been a flop, Fields is feeling the aftermath, and he shouldn't. Derek Carr, he lasted into the second round because David Carr, his brother, was a bust. So, One Pride 40 chimes in. I strongly believe that Lance is a massive bust. Okay, you don't know. And it also depends on what the situation. Would Darnold have ended up better if he was in Cleveland than in New York? Would Baker Mayfield be better in Cleveland than in New York? Would you see Baker Mayfield having all the problems that Darnold's have? And that's a lot to do with it. I mean, you have to have talent surrounding you. There are so many things that are involved. Let's say Justin Fields goes to Carolina. Okay. Carolina has some really good young wide receivers. They spent last year the whole draft on defense. He'll sit behind Bridgewater for a year. And then in 2022, he starts with all sorts of talent. McCaffrey comes back. Those 3 wide receivers that they got are playing really good football. They improved the offensive line. He could step in and be a star. Or who has the 5th pick in the draft off the top of my head? I saw a mock draft recently, and Cincinnati was 3, Carolina was 4. I forget who was number 5. Shoot, I probably should know that. I probably should know that. Okay, because I remember number 5 was a quarterback, so it'd be a quarterback needy team. But let's just say Detroit. All right, let's just say Detroit. So he goes. Let's say Lance gets drafted by Detroit. Galladay's gone. Stafford, they trade Stafford. He has to start as a rookie. The defense is garbage. Saleh doesn't know how to develop a quarterback. He may have all sorts of problems. It depends on what goes on. I just gave you 2 different scenarios for teams picking 4 and 5 in the draft. I don't think whoever the Jets drafted a couple years ago when they drafted Darnold would have had any chance of success in New York. It doesn't matter. They could have drafted Lamar Jackson. They could have drafted Josh Allen. They wouldn't have worked. It's a lot more than the team. Oh, Funk. A lot of people said Mahomes was going to be a bust too. I'm not saying he's going to be Mahomes, but I do think he's going to be a bust. Wow. I was very anti-Mahomes. I didn't want to draft him. I didn't want to trade up. And it's funny, a lot of Chiefs fans were trashing Buffalo. Buffalo ended up with Tre'Davious White, draft capital, draft Terrell Edmonds. He's going to be a defensive player of the year one day. And they have enough draft capital for Josh Allen, who some people think should be an MVP candidate. I don't think so. So it's not that bad. But Lance is going to be a bust. We're going to talk a lot about him. Music City guy. I think Lance will be pretty good. He comes from a pro style. He's got good size and apparently decision-making since he doesn't throw interceptions. I thought Mahomes was going to be Graham Harrell 2.0. Music City guy, me and you are the only people in the history of the world that will publicly admit that we did not want that we didn't think Patrick Mahomes was going to be good. I didn't either. Oh, I'm sorry, Funk. Okay. I don't think he's going to be a bust. And he's talking about Lance. Okay. I'm when it comes to rookie I'm sorry, guys. When it comes to rookie quarterbacks, a lot of it has to do with where you go in the situation you're in. No rookie quarterback going into 2018 draft, 2017 draft was going to be successful from the New York Jets. All right. Baker Mayfield wasn't. Lamar Jackson wasn't. Josh Allen wasn't. All of them were going to be bad. A lot of it depends on that situation. I think a quarterback gets drafted by Carolina is going to be in great shape. You have a lot of talent around you. You used last year's draft fully on young defensive players. That's a team that's building. Carolina's a team next year. I'm going to be like, that's a good team. A team like Detroit may be a bad spot. All right. You may get a guy, Matthew Stafford. If I'm Matthew Stafford and the Lions draft a quarterback with, let's just say it's the 5th pick, I'm just saying trade me. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. Trade me. Just get me out of town. Get me out of town. Because he'll have to deal with. Let me think about it. You're Matthew Stafford. Look at everything you've done in your career. It's a good career so far, except for playoff wins. You're going to deal with a maybe a first-time rookie head coach if it's Robert Saleh. Then you're going to deal with him getting his own quarterback. Then you have to deal with a new offense, unless they keep Bevel, which probably won't happen. Why would you want to stay? I would say get rid of me. I'll go. Dallas, hello, third round pick. By the way, what would Stafford do with those wide receivers there? That'd be a lot of fun. All right, but anyway, we're going to do a lot of talk about the draft, but I'm going to give you a spoiler alert right now. These mock drafts have Sewell, Sal, whatever, going to Cincinnati at 3. No. Cincinnati likes their left tackle. They like Jonah Williams. That's not going to happen. But it does present an issue because that number 3 spot is where you're going to have to do. It could be the Lions. It could be the Panthers. It could be the Bears. That's another thing. What are the Bears going to do at quarterback? So, agreed any quarterback to the Jets is said to be a failure, complete dumpster. Yeah. Why keep Stafford for a year, then trade him? Well, that's the whole thing is that if you draft a quarterback, if I'm Stafford, I just say, no, I'm good. Why? I don't want it. Here's my thing, One Pride 40. If the Lions draft a quarterback, if I'm Matthew Stafford, I just say bye, later, threaten retirement, do whatever. I wouldn't want to be on that team. So if the Lions draft Lance, my preference would be sit him behind Chase Daniel for a year, move Stafford for a few picks, finish the O-line, draft Najee Harris in the second. By the way, Najee Harris in the second to Detroit would be brilliant. Najee Harris is a guy I think could sneak into the first round. I keep hearing third. I'm going to tell you something. If he runs under 4.5, there's a chance he can go in the first round. And I think Najee Harris to the Lions would be fantastic. That would be awesome. Now, Kerryon Johnson, you would just basically cut him out. You know, he would be gone. Adrian Peterson, I would want to keep on that team. I think he signed a 2-year contract, if I remember right. But that's exactly what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. But the thing is, what you got to realize is that if you do this, you're starting Chase Daniel. It's only you're probably thinking week 4, maybe the bye week. So if you do this, Chase Daniel's not playing 16. That's the only thing I want you to be aware of. And I think you know that. I think you know that. Yeah. It was a great analysis. It was a great analysis. All right. I'm going to break down all these games here. KJ gets moved for picks 2. Probably a 5th. Who are you talking about, KJ? I'd rather draft a QB than with defensive help with the other 4 picks. That's also a good move. I'm just telling you that I like Stafford. I think Stafford should stay in Detroit. That's my opinion. But I get why you would want to draft a quarterback. I 100% get it. It's going to be a very interesting situation what happens with the Lions. So, Kerryon Johnson. There's a chance he might just get cut. There's a chance he might just get cut. Yeah. Keep it. Okay, here I'm going to rant about this for a little bit. Najee Harris to I'm going to get rid of my banner here just for a second. Najee Harris to the Lions makes a lot of sense on a lot of levels. Kerryon Johnson's gone. But you have Adrian Peterson tutoring both Swift and Najee Harris. But with Najee Harris and Swift going forward is as good of an inside-outside combination as you can get. Plus, you can use them both at the same time. And they didn't do this year nearly enough, but I really felt like you could have had Adrian Peterson or Kerryon Johnson and Swift on the field at the same time and flex Swift out as a receiver. And I would love it if Detroit did that with Najee Harris. Matter of fact, when I do a mock draft, I probably won't have Najee Harris going to Detroit in the first round. But if I do a full draft in the second or third round, Najee Harris to Detroit's a perfect fit. Adrian Peterson coaches them up for another year. Then when he leaves, you have basically Najee Harris and Swift in a Detroit backfield, an inside-outside combo. That would be awesome. Whether you have Stafford there or if you have a rookie, it doesn't matter. That would be great. Moving Stafford and carrying a few picks to be like 8 picks. Yeah. Absolutely. And you never know. You might be able to do something creative. You may be able to get up to number 2. The majority of defense will be gone, and we need wide receivers. That's another thing. Do you keep Galladay? Do you keep Galladay? How much does he want? That's the whole situation. There's so many different things. It'll be interesting to see what Detroit does in the offseason. First game I'm going to bring up, and I'm going in order. I'm going to do this game's the one on Christmas, Minnesota at New Orleans. And I know you guys, my camera probably won't do this, but I have the Saints over 10.5 wins. Will my camera get it? Okay, sort of. It's not the best. So I really need the Saints to win one of their next 2 games. So this would be a great Christmas present for me. I have $150. This was $150. I got plus 110. So the 150 is going to win me 165, which means I walk out of the casino with $315. So yeah, they do. I really want this. It was what can I get for Christmas? I can get Saints win $315. So I am really pulling for this, but Minnesota is not looking like a good team. The defense is in disarray. I actually really like the over on this game, but I do like the Saints. By the way, this was 7 and just dropped. This might be something that you want to take the Saints and the over on. I think this is a situation where the Saints, remember, the Saints got knocked out of playoffs last year by this same Minnesota team. They are going to be ready to play. I probably will pass on this, but this is one I liked over, and I like the Saints. The Minnesota defense is just terrible. I'm not keeping Kenny G when I can go get Corey Davis or Allen Robinson, 2 Michigan natives. You're right. Corey Davis has had a good season, and Allen Robinson is one of the best receivers in football. But I would love to see Galladay stay there in Detroit. It's hard to say what's going to happen. It's really hard to say what's going to happen. Next game, Tampa Bay at Detroit. Over-under is 54. Detroit's a 9.5-point dog at home. James sent me some emails about apparently there's going to be – I haven't confirmed this yet, and once it happens, there's a chance Detroit – the line may even go up higher. There's a chance that you're going to have multiple coaches sitting out, possibly multiple players due to COVID issues. It doesn't look to be a violation of NFL policy, but this looks like it's just going to be a bad situation for Detroit. Tampa Bay still fighting for a playoff spot. I don't believe they've clinched one. I didn't write it down, but the last 4 games, they gave up over 40 to Houston. They gave up 46 to Tennessee. They gave up 30 to Chicago, and they gave up 31 to Green Bay. Just doing the math in my head, I think it's 148. So you take that divided by 4. I'm looking at 36 points a game the last 4 weeks. Tampa Bay needs to get into the playoffs. I love the over on this game. The only question I have is that does Detroit's offense just go into a shell? But this is a situation where I really think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Really think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Would you prefer A-Rob or KG? That's actually a great question. If both are healthy, both are the same. Both are healthy. Both are the same price. I would take KG, but he's not healthy. So I would take Allen Robinson. But if both healthy, 100% dollars aren't an issue, I would take KG. Tampa win, yeah. If Detroit pulls off the upset versus Tampa Bay, the NFC will be in a tailspin. Yeah, it will be. I don't see it happening, though. I really don't see it happening. But this is a good game with all the issues going on with the Detroit Lions. The defense has been really bad. It's hard to believe that they're going to be better. There's a chance that they're going to have all sorts of goofy stuff going on. I like the over a lot. My only question is this going to be a thing where everybody on Detroit gives up? They Stafford just, hey, I'm not going to tough it out. This could be a blowout. This could be a blowout. I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. But I love the over in this game. So Corey Davis from Illinois went to Western Michigan. I hope J. Rob pays him. It was funny because I remember when Corey Davis was drafted by the Titans, I hated that pick. I was like, you should have got Mike Williams instead, and that's debatable. But he hasn't played up to being the 5th pick in the draft, but he's played as a great number 2. He got a lot of money being the 5th overall pick in the draft. If he's smart, he just says he either takes a contract, but I would just take a 1-year deal and stay in Tennessee. And the reason why I do that, because Tennessee's a team that's getting better. They're going to be a playoff team in 2021. I sign a 1-year deal and say, hey, look, I'll play here cheap. You have to pay AJ Brown eventually. You don't have to pay him next year. To the best of my knowledge, you're not going to pay him next year. You have to pay him after 2021. So take a cheap 1-year deal, stay in Tennessee, go back to the playoffs. I mean, you're not going to be looking at double coverage with a great wide receiver and a great running back. You have an opportunity. You've been playing your best football. So if I'm Corey Davis, I take a little less money, hold out, stay in Tennessee for 1 year, and then get a big paycheck in 2022. More than likely, he'll probably leave. Some people in Kansas City want him. I don't think he fits in with the Chiefs, but it'll be interesting to see where he goes. Hot take: Khalil Mack is declining. Yeah, I actually agree with that. I watched him as a Raider. Keep in mind, I think he's 30 or 31. Still one of the best defensive players in football. Not really as dominant as he was with the Raiders, but yeah, I agree with that. San Francisco at Arizona, there is no line on the game. Even if there is, I'll probably pass on it. The only way I would not pass on this is if it was Arizona and like 3. I think Arizona wins this game. I just don't know by how much. Division games and San Francisco playing at Arizona, it's just weird. This is a game. This is my number 1 game. Miami at Las Vegas, the over-under is 47.5. The Raiders are a 3-point dog at home. I love Miami. I'm just waiting to hear the injury report. And I'm probably waiting too long. Apparently, Mike Gesicki's going to play, but they're down to like 2nd and 3rd string wide receivers. That's what scares me because you have a young rookie quarterback. You have a good defense. You're probably playing against Mariota. I don't know. This is my number 1 game because Miami has just one healthy wide receiver and Gesicki back. It doesn't matter. I think they'll win. They need this game. The Raiders, their playoff hopes. I think there's a weird mathematical way if they win and everybody else loses and it snows in hell or something goofy. But Denver Gator, Raiders will lose next 2 games. Book it. I see no way the Raiders get motivated to beat a really good Dolphins team. I love this game. I'm just waiting, and maybe I'm waiting too long. Maybe I should have already put action on 3. But here's the thing. It's been at 3 all week. If it stays at 3 and it looks like Gesicki and another Dolphins receiver can play, I'm probably going to take Miami in this one. This is probably my number 1 game. Next game, Atlanta at Kansas City. The over-under is 54. This has been plummeting big time because Kansas City has not covered the last 6 weeks. I think it opened up at like 12.5 or 13. It's just free falling. Kansas City is now a 10-point dog. They were something. I think this was at 12.5 not too long ago. I actually, if it was 14, I would have taken Atlanta at 14, but the smart play is over 54. I think the weather's going to be good. Kansas City, if you don't know, is at 13-1, and with Pittsburgh losing on Monday night, both Pittsburgh and Buffalo are 11-3. Kansas City beat Buffalo, so Buffalo can't leapfrog Kansas City. But if Kansas City loses the next 2 games, Pittsburgh wins the next 2 games, Pittsburgh would actually be the 1 seed. So Kansas City needs 1 win to clinch the number 1 seed. I do think they get it. I would have took Atlanta in 14 because Kansas City hasn't covered the last 6 weeks, but I'm not sure they're going to cover. Now it's already down to 10. I really think this will be a touchdown, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Your best option is to take over 54 in this game. This is going to be a high-scoring game. I'm kind of surprised this hasn't gone up to 56 yet. Prop bet action, Kelsey and Mahomes prop bets, take them both. Kansas City's going to throw the ball at least 50 times in this game. Travis Kelce's going to have a big game. Travis Kelce has a chance to lead the NFL in receiving yards. The Chiefs are aware of that. So this will be the big game because I think next week he'll probably sit. There's a good chance Kelce and Mahomes both sit next week. This week, I think they go all out. Over 54 is a definite play. Kelce and Mahomes props this week because next week I think both sit. Max 29. Okay, I thought he was 30 or 31. Yeah, exactly. Kelce, yeah, and that he's going to have a huge game this week. I think he sits week 17. So yeah, if you're going to take action on prop bets, do it this week. Pitt just needs to wrap up the season. They're going to get wrecked in playoffs, even if they get there. Well, it's really interesting because if they do get either it's the 3 or the 4 seed, I really want them to play Cleveland in the playoffs in the first round. So, it'll be very interesting to see where Trubisky goes. Hey, you cover my Titans beating the Packers this Sunday? No, I have not. I'm going in order, but I'm glad you feel that way. That is going to be a great game, by the way. And I do have a betting prediction for it. I would love to hear from you. For you Tennessee fans, you guys let me know what you think. But by the way, this weekend, let me tell you something. Kelce and Mahomes prop bets, take them. I got bit with Mahomes, with Mahomes for the yards last week. I think it was 315, and he didn't get there. He will this week. You may even want to go nuts and say over 400. So. Next game is Cleveland at New York. The over-under is 47. The Jets are a 9.5-point dog. One funny thing that not a lot of people know, but the Jets have scored in the first quarter for the last 7 games. I think it's 7 straight games. If you can put action on the Jets in the first quarter, they've scored on like the first drive of the game like 5 or 6 straight weeks, believe it or not. Something I'm sharing. Am I going to put action on this game? No, I am not. But I'm sharing it with you guys. So, by the way, hey, Isaac, how you doing, man? How's it feel to win 2 straight weeks and you're in good shape to go for 3? How's it feel, man? Got to feel good. One Pride, along with a Nagy extension, do literally cost them a few games this year. One was that last game against Detroit. Yeah. Nagy will get fired next year. Yeah, I think he stays around this year, but next year he could definitely be gone. Speaking of Pittsburgh, they have a very, very tough game this week. Indianapolis at Pittsburgh, over under is 44.5. Pittsburgh is a 1.5-point dog at home. I like the Colts in this game. I am so close to putting the action on the Colts. It's just, I don't know why I'm not doing it. I can't. I have a hard time believing Pittsburgh's going to lose 4 straight games, but the Colts are the better team. Pittsburgh's falling apart. I mean, yeah, I get why they lose. I don't know. Don't know. Alex, hey, Dan, have you ever had your heart torn out and stomped on from a team you aren't even a fan of? The Jets can't even get the first ticket. Man, I know you wanted to 0-16, Alex, and I'm sorry, man. I mean, I'm sorry. I knew they were going to win a game, man. I knew they were going to win a game. I'm feeling three. You should, you really should, Isaac. And Indy and the under. You know, I'm thinking under also. I'm thinking under also. It's just 44 and a half is just such a small number, but I really like the Colts in this one. I really like the Colts. The only reason I'm not jumping all over the under is that both teams can score points against both these teams have good defenses. Just 44 and a half is just such a small number. But I do like the Colts. I would take the under if I had to. But yeah, it's just 44 and a half. It's just a small number. I knew the Mack contract was going to hurt them in the future. I don't think it's a contract as much as the trade capital. They gave up all those picks. They had to hit on Trubisky. I have no idea what they're going to do with Trubisky. And the Bears could also get very creative and trade up in this year's draft and draft a quarterback. So Atlanta probably checked out on the season. They probably spend more time at the club than doing. You know what? Under what's it? Hakeem Morris. They've been playing pretty good ball, but do take over. Do take over on that game. I really think Kansas City's going to just go ahead and try to get Kelsey the ball often and early. So that's why I say take those prop bets. Probably take the over as well, but it wouldn't surprise me if Atlanta covers 10. So. Just not the yeah. They gave up. I think it was 2 number ones and a 3, and I think it's a draft capital more than the contract. But yeah. All right. I just hope the Texans will beat Cincinnati, though. I wouldn't be surprised if they won. The Texans are just bad. Texans also interviewed. I did not know they interviewed Marvin Lewis. Wow. I loved Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati. I thought he did a really good job. I thought it was kind of a bad circumstances. They wasn't able to win a playoff game there. I don't see that being a good fit at all. I get why maybe you wanted to bring him in, listen to what he had to say. Alex, you tell me. I didn't know this, but I don't think he's a serious candidate. I think they brought him in. It could be the Rooney Rule, but I don't think it's serious. I don't think it would be. By the way, guys, I am looking at everything on StreamYard. I have no idea what's going on YouTube. I could have about 5,000 thumbs down. Please give me a thumbs up. And if you don't mind, put a comment below. You can talk about how awesome my hat is. It helps the algorithm. You're not required to, obviously. I just, the whole point is I'm doing my favorite thing. I work right from home. I work like 5 feet away. I look over at this all day. I've been looking forward to doing this. I'm doing my favorite thing in the whole world. So I'm just glad you guys are here talking football with me because I love doing it. So, but I'm asking for favors, even though there's no reason I should be asking because you guys are helping me do my favorite thing on planet Earth. So. I can't believe the Bears picked. I would have done it too. I'm the only person that would like it. Dude, thanks, Tennessee Titans Logic. Lewis TMU is a defensive-minded coach, and I want an offensive-minded guy. I don't think he's bad, but I don't want him. I don't believe it's serious either. Yeah, it's not. On top of the max move, they also gave up capital. Yeah, they moved up. Remember, they were 3 and San Francisco was 2. They flip-flopped, and they gave up, if I remember correctly, Funk, it was a 3rd. So they gave up the number 3 pick in the draft and a 3rd. And then San Francisco, of course, they ended up using Solomon Thomas, the player they would have taken at 2, and he's been a colossal bust. That's another reason I don't like Robert Saleh is that everybody thought Solomon Thomas was a can't-miss prospect. They couldn't get the most out of him. I mean, he got the most out of Bosa, but ultimately he inherited a lot of that talent. He didn't develop it. That's something to consider too. On top of that, the Texans interviewed the Lions. Yeah, I saw they interviewed Caldwell for the Texans job. I'm not a Caldwell fan myself, but I would take Caldwell over Marvin Lewis. But I have a hard time believing either one of those would be good options. If I'm a Texans fan and I say, "Hey, Jim Caldwell's our next head coach," I would not be happy about that. I would not be happy about that. What about Armstead? Yeah, he inherited Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner. Those are actually, believe it or not, Chip Kelly, when he was there, he bought both those guys from Oregon. They were using a real complicated it was kind of a weird hybrid 3-4 system. It's actually a pretty smart thing what he did, because both those guys were just freaks of nature. But he didn't draft those guys. He inherited both Armstead and Buckner, and while he had those two guys, they had a bad defense. Look at his first 2 years when they went 5-11 and 4-12. Right? He had those two guys. The Detroit Lions don't have one player on their defense as good as either Armstead or Buckner. No, I wouldn't either, man. I keep hearing it, and I don't like it. If you're a Lions fan, you do. I don't like this. I don't want Saleh to go there. I don't think he's a good fit. Caldwell isn't bad, but I want a winning head coach. Someone that will take us far into the playoffs, not just get us into them. That was my big problem with Bob, a good coach. It just can't get as far. If it means anything, that the lots of Chiefs fans felt that way about Andy Reid and of course Marty Schottenheimer. I loved Marty. A lot of people felt the same thing in Kansas City about Andy Reid. So I'm just throwing it out there. I told you that I liked Todd Bowles going there because I know he would just instantly make the defense better. But the more and more I think about it, I just think Eric Bieniemy going there makes a lot of sense. And if I'm Eric Bieniemy, what am I looking for in the team? It's what everybody's looking at a team. Who's your quarterback? Well, I can make a strong case that Watson is the second best quarterback in the National Football League. I can make a strong case. You want to say it's Rodgers, or some people think Rodgers. I saw something on Instagram saying Rodgers is a better quarterback than Mahomes this year. I don't buy that at all. I'm also a Chiefs fan, so. Bottom line, Deshaun Watson. Okay, let's just say 5. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. If I'm Eric Bieniemy, what do I want? Well, I want a great quarterback. Well, here you go. It's very rare that you have an NFL team with a superstar quarterback that's looking for a new head coach. It's very rare. And they got some pieces in play. They still have draft picks this year, but normally what happens is you sign a 3 to 5 year deal. You'll come in year 1. You don't need to be really good right away. You're looking at year 2 or 3. So I think if I'm Eric Bieniemy, my number one option would be the Houston Texans, and it makes a lot of sense for both sides. Even though I had him going to Detroit with I talked about him so much, and now I'm drawing a blank. The GM if they take Thomas Dimitroff, it's a different thing. Caldwell's well liked in the locker room. He also needed to hire an assistant coach to manage the clock and let both his coordinators call plays. He was really well liked. Here's the thing. I'm making it sound like Caldwell's a bad guy. World-class offensive coordinator. I didn't really care for him as a head coach. I didn't think he did that good of a job with the Lions, but in hindsight, he's a lot better than Matt Patricia, but I think that you should do better. One Pride 40 asks, what about Dable? I would love it if he stayed on board as the offensive coordinator. He will get interviewed if he hasn't already, but I don't think that I would say if you had to give me a number, I would say less than 3% that a chance of him staying as a head coach. If you're smart, you keep him on board. Now, if you're going to get a new quarterback, you might as well just go with a different guy. Also, Carr is out, so the Raiders could miss the playoffs, I believe, if they make it. I think the Raiders, in order for them to make the playoffs, They need to win out, and they need a bunch of weird things to happen. Basically, they're mathematically eliminated already. It's still up in the air whether it's going to be Carr or whether it's going to be Mariota. I don't think it matters. I think Miami wins that game. If it gets to 3.5, I don't like the hook, so I'm not going to take it. But if I can get 3 and I see that some Dolphins are coming back healthy, I'm definitely taking that. Salah got the most out of Warner and Greenlaw. Yeah, he did. He did, but they also kind of got lucky with those draft picks. Here's the thing: if I'm Salah, I think you could go to the Chargers, and I think that would be a great fit because that defense is ready for you, and you don't have to worry about the offensive side of the ball. I think going to the Chargers would be great. Going to Detroit, that's not a good fit. And you would probably if I'm Robert Saleh and I take the Lions job, let's just say I take it. I keep Dable as my offensive coordinator. I try to re-sign Galladay, and I keep that offense as is. Then you have to Adam bomb the defense, and you also tell your brass that hey, year one's going to be a project. So. Caldwell's good year in Detroit was his first. He inherited Sue. Oh, I forgot. Ndamukong Suh is a Hall of Fame player, by the way, and that's another topic for another day. I'm not going to rant. I could go on a rant right there. Fairly a healthy Siggy, Tulloch, Levy, Delmas, Quinn coming into their prime, Slay coming into his prime, and CJ and all those other starters. Yeah, he had, Ziggy Ansah. I remember him just skyrocketing through the boards. Really, really, really good defensive end for a few years in Detroit. I forget who he went to. And then I think it was injuries more than anything. Sue was just a monster. He was really, I think he belongs in Canton. I'm going to stop because I can go on too long of a rant. So if Eric B takes the Houston job, who do you think he brings in for coordinators? If I'm Eric Bieniemy, choice number one is Mike Kafka, who's the quarterback's coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. The reason why is people are already talking about Mike Kafka being an NFL head coach as soon as 2022. Mike Kafka is going to be an NFL head coach. Okay, let's just get that out of the way right now. If I'm Eric Bieniemy, I bring him along and just say, okay, look, you'll be here for a year. Okay. And that would be option one. But more than likely, if Eric Bieniemy leaves, Mike Kafka would move into the offensive coordinator position, which is a good position because the last 3 offensive coordinators went on to head coaching jobs. So if I'm Mike Kafka, Eric Bieniemy, it would be tempting. It would be tempting, but more than likely, you're probably staying in Kansas City because you'll get the head coaching job. Or if you go to Houston, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. You don't know. Defensive coordinator, it actually the way it would work is that the defensive coordinator job would be up to the GM. It would be up to the GM. The offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka, the quarterback's coach, would be his first option, but I don't see him being pulled away from Kansas City. So I also want a coach that will win when he gets here. I know that's very unrealistic, but I want JJ to have a ring with Houston. I don't want to believe he'll be here after next year. I want to see over. I think there's a very good chance he's gone after this year, Alex. I know you don't want to hear it. I'm sorry, but and I actually think that he could very easily go to Pittsburgh to reunite with his brothers. And I think it would be a good fit. I really do. I think he would love to go there. I think that he could just say, hey, look, I've had a great run in Houston. I'm the greatest player in Houston Texans history, and my time's up. I could easily see that happening. I could easily see it happening. I don't know what'll happen, though. It'll be interesting to see who they bring in as general manager and head coach. They may bring in a general manager who says, you know what? This is Deshaun Watson's team, not J.J. Watt's team. Let's just get rid of J.J. Watt. Or you could bring in a general manager that says, okay, look, man, I got one of the greatest defensive players to ever play. I have a superstar young quarterback. Let's keep them both. Let's just build around both of them. I have no idea. But I'm telling you this. I mean, dude, you've been gold to my show, man. You've been gold to my show. I've loved having you on here. But I'm saying this out of love. Be prepared for Watt to leave. It happens. It happens. I mean, Peyton Manning finished his career in Denver. Brett Favre finished his career, that one weird year in New York and then in Minnesota. Joe Montana finished his years in Kansas City. Neil Smith, one of my all-time favorite players, left to go to Denver and won Super Bowls in Denver. Chiefs fans, apparently, he had a restaurant here in Kansas City. I heard Chiefs fans broke the windows to that restaurant. So, yeah, it happens. It happens. Do I think he's going to leave this year? I don't know. I think it's a coin flip. I really think it's a coin flip. I don't know if Lions have cap space for Galladay, even if they want to keep him. I don't know either. And you have to wonder, does Galladay want to stay? That's going to be something very interesting. Saleh stays on the West Coast with the Chargers. Bets fit for him. Who would he pick as coordinators? More than likely, the Chargers have always had a bad organizational structure. So I actually don't think he'll have a lot of say in it, to tell you the truth. He'll be public and he'll support and he'll say, oh, yeah, this is the guy that I targeted. That's what they always say. I don't think they'll give him the control. I really don't. I think that what they'll do is they'll say he'll probably have control or a little more input on the defensive side of the ball. But more than likely what they'll do is they'll bring in their own guy on offense. That happens with some organizations where you hire a head coach and then the organization picks your coordinators. If you're an experienced head coach, you have an opportunity to have a little more input. Robert Saleh probably will not. If I'm Robert Saleh, I try to bring somebody I'm familiar with, either from the Seattle coaching tree, or I want to bring in somebody from the 49ers. More than likely, it could also be a situation like Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's familiar with that defense, so you bring in Dan Quinn. That would be my number one player. It would probably be Dan Quinn, and the reason why is he also has head coaching experience. Normally what happens when you bring in a first-time head coach, you bring in a coordinator that's got experience. For example, the New York Giants, they brought in Jason Garrett to run the offense. I guarantee you Joe Judge did not say, hey, Jason Garrett's my number one guy. No, that was an organizational decision. That wasn't a Joe Judge decision. So more than likely, it would probably be a head coach either on the offensive or defensive side of the ball, a former head coach. And I would say Dan Quinn. And that would work. That would work. All right, sorry, I'm behind on comments here. Whoever comes in as head coach, I hope they keep Romeo. He's loved in the locker room. I believe he should be used, not as a coach, but as an advisor. He's done being. If you're smart, you keep Romeo Crennel in the organization. Advisor role, defensive coordinator, defensive line coach, it doesn't matter. If you're smart, overpay to keep him in the organization. I 100% agree with you there. Ask about coordinators because 100% Denver, this is actually a very underrated comment, is that I ask about coordinators because a lot of times staff is just as important as the new coach. This is a very underrated but very important statement because this is true. I think a lot of success that the Giants are having, the possibility of them starting the season 0-5 and then having a possibility of going to the playoffs, even though your quarterback's been hurt, Saquon Barkley's been hurt, is that they have a guy with experience. Take a look at the Washington Redskins. Ron Rivera's battling cancer. Jack Del Rio, former NFL head coach, really good defensive coordinator. He's responsible as anybody for building up that Washington Redskins defense. This was a brilliant statement. I should have said this, Denver Gator, but I'm giving you full credit for it because it's a smart statement. And this is true. Andy Reid, when he came to Kansas City, the first person he hired was, he brought in the special teams coach from the Bears who had all those punt and kick returns with Devin Hester. That was the very first thing he did. You want to bring in quality coaches. One of the things that two name blocks in a row. I am really bad about this. The Miami Dolphins, what they did is they brought in a bunch of Patriot coordinators, but yeah, I'm sorry, I'm blowing blanks on names, but it's really important who you bring in, and this is something I wish I would have thought of. Because if you don't bring in good, if you're a first-time coordinator, okay, matter of fact, let's go in perspective. Let's go flip side. When the Cincinnati Bengals brought in their head coach, Zach Taylor. Okay, good. I got one name right. When they brought in Zach Taylor, you know what he did? He brought in a bunch of new coaches. That whole coaching staff was guys, they're both coordinators, never been coordinators before. It was a bunch of guys that had never been, they had the least amount of coaching experience of any coaching staff, and it was by a mile. But the thing is, though, under Marvin Lewis, they had a very experienced coaching staff, and it didn't work out. If you want to know why the Bengals are on the verge of winning, now, yeah, it was a big win, but over the last 2 years, you want to know why they're going to win 5 or 6 games over the last 2 years? Because they have a very inexperienced coaching staff. Because instead of bringing over coordinators with a lot of experience, he brought in an offensive and defensive coordinator with no coordinator experience. I forget who the position. I want to say one was a receivers coach, one was a defensive backs coach. I could be wrong. They didn't bring in good names, and that's part of the reason why the Cincinnati Bengals have struggled, is that they did not bring in a good staff. Great comment, Denver Gator. Great comment. Sorry for the rant. Since the Jets blew the first pick, could you see Eric Bieniemy going to Trader? I love the trash talk. I 100% believe that he could. Yeah, and here's the thing. Jacksonville is an appealing place because they have draft capital. They have young talent on both sides of the ball. Jacksonville is really, in my opinion, Jacksonville is a quarterback and 1 or 2 defensive players, maybe just some experience away from being a really good football team. They have 2 really good young pass rushers. They have some that first pick they used, C.J. Henderson. He's a really good piece in the secondary. Chenault's a guy I had a major draft crush on. Plus you have DJ Chark. You have Conley, and then that running back that came out of nowhere. Jacksonville is a very interesting spot, and I think Fields would love to. If I am either, I almost said Tannehill. I got it right this time. If I'm Trevor Lawrence or Kyle Wilson, I 100% want to go to Jacksonville instead of New York. Look at the weapons you have. You have a good running back. You have 2 really good tackles. You have Chenault, who should have gone in the first round. He went in the second. You have DJ Chark, a wide receiver, who also should have gone in the first round. He went in the second round. These are 2 guys that could be legitimate number 1 receivers. Chris Conley, a former Chief, not a bad guy. He's your number 3 guy. They also have another guy I'm drawing a blank on. Plus, in the second round, you can get yourself a tight end. Jacksonville is in really good shape. But could I see Eric Bieniemy going to Jacksonville? I could. The reason why I liked him, John Dorsey was the GM I was thinking about. The reason why I liked John Dorsey and Eric Bieniemy going to Detroit is I saw them because they had NFC North experience, and I could see them going to Detroit and working together. But if Eric Bieniemy's not going to go to Detroit, I would have to think that his number 1 choice would be Houston. Let's say they're not interested in him. Jacksonville calls and they say, hey, you can get either Trevor Lawrence, Kyle Fields. Did I get the name right? I'm sorry. Kyle Wilson. I didn't get the name right. You can get your guy. I got a lot. That Jacksonville's a lot more appealing than the New York job. My opinion on Rick Smith, I think he was in a bad situation in Houston. He didn't communicate with the head coach at all. That was a big issue. I've said this, and we talked about coordinators being important. What's really important is that the GM and the head coach have got to be on the same page. They've got to be cohesive. That was the biggest problem he had, is that him and Bill O'Brien were not on the same page. Really good GM. I think Dimitroff would be a better fit if I had to choose between the two. But I think he's fine. I think he's a very good GM. He's got to communicate well. He's got to communicate better with his head coach. You can't. But that Houston situation was really bad. Watt, one of my all-time favorites, but he's due for Pittsburgh. I think so. I could see him I could see him taking a pay cut and wanting to play with his brothers. I could just see it. JJ leaving is going to hurt. He's loved by the city and has done so much for it. I know he's not going to retire here. Houston's a mess. And that depends on what the GM wants to do. You have to realize that if you're the GM, you may not even want him there. I don't know. It'll be very interesting. I don't know if Kenny Galladay and my Seahawks will get the big bag every thanks hip injury when he tried to go when he felt better. He hurt it again if he can't get on the field. Sorry here. I'm way behind on comments, guys. No, I get it, Funk. I get it. But no, there's going to be a team that wants to pay him. There is going to be a team that's going to overlook those things and pay him. If I'm a Lions fan, I want him to stay there. It'll be very interesting to see what they do, but that's one of the better off-season conversations that's going to happen is where is Galladay going to go, because he is good. He is really good, and he is going to get paid. DeMarcus Ware finished in Denver, Rivers finishing away. So I forgot about DeMarcus Ware winning a Super Bowl in Denver. That was really great player. Rivers, I feared nobody coming in Arrowhead more than I feared Phillip Rivers. There's so many players that end up on different teams. Even Aaron Rodgers said it wouldn't surprise me if I finished somewhere other than Green Bay. So he might be more cheaper deal on him wanting to be here. He says he is loyal, but like to get a long-term deal. I'm going to see this. I'm going to do this one too. He could be at a discounted price. He has said recently is loyal, wants to get a long-term deal done. Here's the deal, Funk. More than likely, that's what you're supposed to say. And that's what you want to say. But ultimately, I don't think that if less money is available in Detroit, he's going to stay. And the reason why is that you're going to have a new coaching staff. You're going to have a new GM. I don't think that factors into it. Now, what he may do is say, you know what? I'll take a 1-year deal. I'll get healthy. But a lot of it's going to determine if you have Stafford there. If you take a 1-year deal and you get a rookie quarterback, you're not going to do that. If they get a rookie quarterback, Galladay's not going to want to go ahead and take a small deal. He'll want that long-term deal, and you're not going to take a discounted long-term deal. So he's saying all the right things, and he should say all the right things. A lot of it's going to determine if they get a rookie quarterback. Now, if he signs a long-term deal, great. But I guarantee you, if Detroit takes a rookie quarterback, he's not going to do a 1-year deal. That's something to pay attention to. Denver, I would love to see the Watt brothers. Yeah, it would be fun. I mean, I'm not a Pittsburgh fan, so, but still, it would be kind of cool. The weather is better in Jackson. Yeah. James Robinson is, I think you mean is nice. Yeah, he is really, really good player. They have some good pieces in Jacksonville. The Lions announced they had interviews with Rick Smith, Pioli, and Dimitroff. No word on who's scheduled in the future. The one thing you have to admit is that the Lions are doing an A+ job right now. A+ job with interviewing people for a GM position. I think that's really smart, and it looks like that's something that they're going to do really well. If all the Watt brothers were on the same team, you know how awesome those Subway commercials would be. Oh, I didn't even think about that, but you're right. Jacksonville is a crap city unless you surf like Longo. You know what? I've been through Florida. I've never I've never hung out extensively. I've never been to Jacksonville. Never been to Jacksonville. Um, the company I work for has a knock here, and they have a knock in Tampa Bay. And there's a possibility because somebody else pointed up here. This is it. Yeah. So if a promotion offers in Tampa Bay, I'm going to go. So I thought about hitting you up, Mike. Like, what's Tampa Bay like? Because there's a good chance in next year I could be in Tampa Bay, possibly if I stay with this company. Sorry, I'm ranting. I'll get back. Jacksonville to me would be the most tempting head coaching job. Great draft capital. I'm pretty sure they don't want to pay taxes, plus the weather. The reason why I would put Houston over Jacksonville is Houston, you already have the quarterback. You already have a superstar quarterback. You don't drafting a quarterback and developing a quarterback sounds like a lot of fun. But it not only is it a complete crapshoot, you're also banking so much on somebody who's 21, 22 years old. Teams really don't want to do this. Teams don't want to just, okay, we have to hope that we get the right quarterback. This is something that's more fun for us. NFL teams don't want that. You want to go to a team with an established superstar quarterback. That's what you want to do. That's why Houston is so much more appealing than Jacksonville, because they don't have draft capital for this year, but that's it. 2021, I think they're missing a few picks in 2021 also, but you have your quarterback. That's why Houston is the number one coaching job. Now you could say Atlanta it for 1 year, but you got to move on. Detroit, do you want to stay with Stafford? Because I think you could stay for Stafford for at least 5 more years. That's an interesting story. But no, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just telling you that if you're a coach, you want to go somewhere with an established superstar quarterback rather than hope that you can build one. And that's the whole key. You got to hope that this succeeds. You got to hope that after you give a 21 or 20 or Trey Lance from North Dakota State, he's 20. So you're going to give this guy $30 to $40 million and hope that everything works out. I remember a lot of people thought Leaf should have gone over Manning. They interviewed both, and most of you guys know this conversation, but after Peyton Manning interviewed with the Colts, he was getting ready to leave, and he turned around and he said, "Hey, I would love to play for you guys, but if I don't, I'm going to kick your ass for the next 15 years." And they asked Ryan Leaf, "Hey, what would you do if you're the number one player chosen in the draft?" And he goes, "Well, I'd probably go to Vegas and party." And by the way, shout out, Ryan Leaf's a great Twitter follow. I follow Ryan Leaf, posts a lot of stuff. This story is really great. He calls like Pac-12 games and does a lot of charity work now. But I actually liked Leaf a lot better than Manning coming out of college, but Leaf didn't handle it. He didn't handle millions of dollars and fame and everything else that goes on, all the media scrutiny. It's something that it doesn't really work out. Some players can't handle it. Do you guys remember Jake Locker? He was drafted by Tennessee. He was, I think, 9th or 10th overall pick. Had all talent in the world. Finally looked like things were coming together. He didn't want to play. He just quit. It happens. You want to go to a team with an established quarterback. Totally read Galladay in a singing voice. Oh, good. Yeah, there is no state tax in Florida. Yeah, so I'm sorry guys, I'm behind here. Do you think Houston should get Rick Smith back? He's a good GM still and is wrongfully pushed by Bob. That's actually, I would not have, I don't know. That's actually not a bad idea, to tell you the truth. It would be really interesting to see if they brought him back. Who they would bring in as head coach. I mean, the good news is, I'll give you the good. The good is that you won't have the same problem you did before. I don't know how that works though. That's actually interesting. I think it'd be a great story, to tell you the truth. I think it'd be a great story, and it would also make a lot of Houston fans happy because not one of you guys likes Bill O'Brien. So, yeah, that's right. Galladay, yeah, he could. He could. Who is this Pellegrino guy? Is he a Dallas fan? Ran a Mike, I have to give Mike credit. I don't want to speak for Mike, but he's there in Florida, so I don't want to speak for Mike, but he's been a great addition to the show. So the long-term deal comment came from Penny after me and has to be interested in franchise. Yeah, and by the way, you need to say that too. You need to say, hey man, I'd love to play in Detroit. I'd love to be along with this team. I'd love to stay here. You got to say all those things. Got to say all those things. You got to say all those things. But I guarantee you, if they franchise him and they draft a rookie quarterback, then he's going to be furious. Probably won't even hold out. But yes, I would only take a 1-year deal if Stafford's there. Yeah, Alex, here you go. Raised in Florida most of my life. Duval is a giant trailer park for sure. Tampa is not bad at all. St. Pete doesn't. You know what? We'll talk on Twitter if that happens. But basically, my boss was telling me there's some good opportunities, and he went down there and he said it's awesome. So it's something that over the next several months that could happen. I'm not. I live in Kansas City. It's not a bad city. I hate the winters. I hate being cold. I'm too good looking to be cooped up inside in the cold. So, oh man. Of course, you take the bigger cap hit, trading Stafford now. The best course to keep Stafford and draft the successor. Actually, James, the way Stafford's contract works out is that it's best to get rid of him at the end of this year. I don't know the specifics, but I remember looking at the Stafford contract. Basically, if Detroit wants to get rid of Stafford, the best time to do it is now. I think he signed through 2022, but I think the way the contract's set up is that Detroit loses the least amount of money dropping him after this year. I have to look in to get the specifics behind that, but I do know that if you want to move on from Stafford, this is the year to do it. So, but I've always liked Stafford. I'd like to see him win in Detroit, but that's how I am. Denver, how far away from Jacksonville do you need to go for a nicer neighborhood drive time? No, yeah, that was awesome. Quit picking on me. I wish I had that clip. I'm using the free version of StreamYard, so I can't post all the things I want to. But yeah, that was awesome. By the way, what he's doing now is really great. He does a lot of charity work. His story's really cool. So I'm now a huge Ryan Leaf fan. Didn't like him before. Now I love him, and he's also responded to several of my tweets, which is kind of cool. All right, I think I'm caught up here. Chicago at Jacksonville. Speaking of Jacksonville, Jacksonville's 7.5-point dog at home. I actually like the under in this game. The Bears are in fight for a playoff spot. It's a very small fight. David Montgomery has looked awesome. I actually lost on Allen Robinson receptions. Had over 6. He had 5. And I also took Trubisky. I think it was over 245 passing yards because Minnesota was giving up so much passing yards and the secondaries in disarray. I really thought they'd throw the ball, but no, they just gave the ball to Montgomery. He has been awesome. So the David Montgomery prop bet you want to take here. There's no line on the New York-Baltimore game and the Cincinnati-Houston game. Both these games are really, really interesting. This game, big playoff implications here. Baltimore is actually the odd team out in the AFC playoffs, which is a shame because they're a team that if they get into the playoffs, you are really, really, really don't want to play. And then, of course, the Giants, if they lose, I don't know what's going to happen. So But this is going to be a great game in Cincinnati, Houston. Of course, Miami gets Houston's, I think, first and second round pick this year. So, of course, they want a high draft pick. Cincinnati, how do they bounce back? Did they use everything up? I'll be honest with you. I'd be surprised if Houston lost this game, but we'll see. How did I do with, you know what? My bookie did not put a Hawkinson bet out there. So I have no idea. I don't even know how he did. Funk, maybe an hour, the whole Florida man memes. Most of those come from the Panhandle, Jackson being the Central Coast. Did you ever watch that show, the Good Place? They always made fun of Jacksonville. I just thought that was hilarious. Stafford stays $33 million. 33. We move him. We give him 19, draft the top 10 QB to pay him his 6.5 totals 25. Lions make up an extra 7.5. And people say they can't play. I'm not going to try to sing. I'll lose everybody. I didn't know it was 33. Okay, draft that. Oh, that's a good one, Funk. That's going to be a great story. It's going to be a great story. I would like to see him stay, but I'm kind of surprised that you guys are really for him moving. But it'll be very interesting to see what they do in the offseason. Next game, I got Denver at the Chargers. Chargers trying to win 3 straight. The over-under is 49. The Chargers are a 3-point favorite. I liked over on this game. I actually like the Chargers in this game. I like for them to end the season strong. But both these offenses are really starting to take off. Both those defenses are a little banged up. I actually really liked over. I'm surprised it's under 50. This might be a good game to go ahead and put some action on. Denver has some really good pieces in play. And then you also have Herbert, who's playing some really damn good football right now. Denver does not have a good defense, and the Chargers have some missing players. But I would probably tell you the Chargers are going to win this game. But I really like the over. I'm surprised it's under 50. Houston will win if Watson doesn't try that TikTok. That hit was awesome. That hit was awesome. I mean, I had no dog really in the fight. I just wanted to see a good game, and I saw that hit, and I was like, "Oh man, wouldn't that be weird?" I still didn't think Pittsburgh was going to lose that game. Oh, I did take Benny Snell once I found out Connor was out. I took Benny Snell over 51.5 rushing yards. I was a little worried, but he had, I think it was a 30-yard run in the third quarter, so I did collect on that. I had a losing weekend because that Kansas City game ended up in 3. I'm not even going to rant about that. Fubo messed up. I missed like the last half of the fourth quarter. I had to watch it like 45 minutes later. I'm still pissed about that. I'm done with my rant. Carolina at Washington, big opportunity for the Redskins, despite of who's playing at the quarterback position for the Washington team. I'm sorry, I said Redskins, but it would be very interesting to see what happens in this game. Carolina's been not playing very well. I think that they're ready for next year, but they did play tough. I mean, give them some credit. How they looked against Green Bay. This is going to be a fun game. Of course, Washington's playing for the division. This is a huge game for me. Rams at Seattle because if Seattle won last week. I collected on over 9.5 wins for the Seahawks. I have a bet slip here with me. I put $100 down on Seattle winning the division right here. And it will not. Yeah. Anyway, plus 210. So if Seattle wins the division, my $100 bet will win me 310. So it's really important that Seattle wins this game for me because it looks like as of right now, the $1,000 I took up to Iowa, I'm going to leave with the Saints can win one of their 2 remaining games. I'll win 315. I already won 747.80. So that means I currently am walking out of Iowa with a little over 1060. So the additional 310 will be a nice little bonus if Seattle can win that division. Really important. Seattle is a 1-point favorite at home. This is going to be a tough game. I really, 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 really hope Seattle can pull this off for me. They worked Stafford's deal this past offseason. He ended up with 7 more. I didn't know that. That I didn't know. And Funk, do not apologize, man. No, this is the whole point of the show, is that we talk 32 different teams. 32 different teams. I want people here for this game. I want to hear from Lions fans. I want to hear from Panthers fans. I even want to hear from Cowboys fans, maybe not 49ers fans. No, I'm teasing. You're welcome here. So I want to hear. Do not apologize, man. Dude, me and you've been talking for years about football, and I can't thank you enough for it, man. Let's go, Hawks. I know, man. I know. I might put action on that one, Jimmy. I might put action on that one. Is the bulk of the offense healthy for Seattle? That I don't know. I know Carson came back. I don't know how he's doing. I also know they activated Rashad Penny, a guy that I had a huge man crush on. And Josh Gordon is practicing. I don't know if he's going to play. I have no idea if he's going to play, but if he does play, good things could happen. I might put a small bet on it. He'll talk about No, I won't. You know better. Philly and Dallas, over under is 49.5. Dallas is a 2.5-point favorite. Because Dallas is the only NFC East team that won last week, Dallas is still alive for the playoffs. So this is gold, by the way, guys. I was thinking the same thing. And here's the thing. I could see the Rams being down for that game and being up, but I really am surprised. By the way, it was 1.5. It dropped. So I'm kind of surprised. I thought it'd be about 2.5. I really thought it'd be about 2.5. So it's a good line. It's a good line. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. I might. Well, let's see. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But Philly is still alive for the playoffs. Dallas is still alive. This is awesome that this is a playoff game. But I do like the Eagles in this one. The team does seem energized with starting Jalen Hurts. It's a weird situation. The defense is playing better. The offense is playing better. Dallas, I really didn't think Dallas would win. I really thought I was really surprised by that game. It was on the opposite of the Chiefs Saints, so I didn't bother watching it because I really didn't think it would be no, I'm sorry. I'll answer this real fast. No, Denver, no, Denver Gator. Dallas is actually a dog in this game. Philly's a 2.5-point favorite. No. Okay, I'm gonna do this real fast because it confused me for a while when I started, but when a team is favored, it's actually a negative. And the reason why is, for example, here, Seattle is a 1-point favorite, so the game starts 0 to -1. It was a little confusing to me at first, but the favorite team is at a negative. Dallas is a 2.5-point dog in this game. And if you want to, I can go into a little more detail because it confused me a little bit as well. But when a team's favored, there's a negative because they start the game off with negative points because they're favored. Hopefully that was a good explanation. But yeah, Dallas is a 2.5-point dog at home. I do like Philly, and I actually like the under in this game. I think Philly will run the ball. I think they'll try to play ball control. I think Dallas is going to struggle. And even though Dallas's defense is bad, Philly, even with Jalen Hurts, is not going to put up a lot of points. So, did you watch any of the Cards Philly game? Really good game last week. Hurts looking for no, I did not. 2 weeks ago, I bet on him under, I think it was 203.5 passing yards, and I collected barely. I like Hurts. I didn't like the draft pick. He doesn't have a good NFL arm. So I don't think he's the long-term solution, but I like him this week. I would have liked to see that game, but no, I missed it, man. Cowboys win division. Jerry Jones will think. Yeah, he'll think he'll do a good job. Okay, I wasn't sure Denver Gator because you don't have to be a gambling fan here. I thought you said Dallas was favorite. You know what? I might have said that. You well know I keep calling Trevor Lawrence Tannehill. I will misspeak from time to time, but no, I might have said that. So NFC East is actually going to be represented by a team better than I predicted. 6-10 was my guess. You know what? I didn't look at the numbers, but apparently you can get for every team other than Washington like plus 700 odds. I mean, this is interesting because you have these two teams here. This is not a lock. Giants at Baltimore, they could win this game. They could lose this game. I mean, this is the NFC East is wide open. The NFC East is wide open. This is awesome, actually. But I think one of these teams will be 7-9. If you had to put a gun to my head, I like Washington, but I don't know what I don't know. I really don't know. Next game, Tennessee at Green Bay. The over-under is 56. Green Bay is a 3.5-point favorite. I love the over in this game. 56 is a massive number. 56 is a massive number. I'm aware. Tennessee does not have a good defense. Green Bay is not going to be able to stop Derrick Henry. I'm not sure who's going to win this game, but I love the Derrick Henry rushing prop bet. I'm going to take it this week. I got burned against Cleveland. I'm going to take it this week. Even if Green Bay gets out to an early lead, Packers fans think they have a good defense. They do not. This is going to be a very fun game. Derrick Henry rush prop. I really like it. The Monday night game is Buffalo at New England. Over under is 46. New England is a 7-point dog at home. I actually like New England in this one. I know that everything's against them. I know they're not in the playoffs. I know that everybody thinks Buffalo's this great team. This is to me just a classic game where New England just punches them in the mouth. They should have won in Buffalo. I think it was week 3, and Cam Newton fumbled. I think that they just want to go into the offseason and say, hey, we'll go into the offseason, 6-10, 7-9. It would not surprise me New England wins this one. I'm not going to put action on it. But yeah. How historic for a 6-10 team to go into the playoffs. When if that team can win in the first round, epic meltdown. I want this so bad. If I remember right, the last 7-9 team might have been 2012. Seattle beat the Saints. I know an 8-8 Chargers team knocked off the Colts in the playoffs. I want to say it was 2008, 2009. But a lot of times, and it doesn't happen, but a lot of times teams that get into the playoffs at 8-8. Didn't Denver? Yeah, Denver did it. Denver did it with Tebow. They were 8-8. They got into the playoffs. They knocked off Pittsburgh. Whoever gets in on the NFC East, they're probably going to play. They're going to be the last seed, so they're going to play the 5th seed. So they're going to play probably. I'm trying to think here if I remember right. They'll probably play the Rams. Could you see them beating the Rams, who just lost to the Jets? Yeah. Or it could be Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's an up and down team. But yeah, absolutely. Jimmy says, I'm thinking about taking the points for the Titans that one. I wouldn't blame you one bit. Make sure you get over 3. Make sure you get over 3. I 100% would. I like Tennessee here. I really do. I mean, I just think Green Bay is an overrated team. Some people think they're the best team in the NFC. I think it's the Saints. But yeah. Game. Oh yeah, definitely game of the week. I can't wait. This is gonna be a fun game. I'm thinking about the over. I'm thinking I'm gonna take the over, but I am taking that Derrick Henry prop bet. I could easily see the over. Watch out for Tannehill to light him up after Green Bay sells out. Yeah. I think A.J. Brown's healthy too. So the defense improving, Adoree back and Kristen Fulton. I forgot Kristen Fulton is going to play. I really like this pick. I had him going in the first round, and he ended up going late in the second round. He was a really good player for LSU. I have no idea why he went so late, but a lot of good things about him. Really good player. He's been injured almost all year, so him coming back really helps out a lot, especially for the playoff run. This is going to help. Adoree Jackson. I hated that pick. That draft, I really hated what Tennessee did. They had the 5th and the 18th pick in the draft. They used number 5 for Corey Davis, number 18 for Adoree Jackson. And Jackson, I did not have as a first-round pick. But is he going to help that secondary that desperately needs it? Absolutely. I didn't know this, but the Tennessee Titans lead the NFL in scoring. That's another thing. Didn't know that. I thought it was the Chiefs. So. What were the G-men when they won it from the wild card? Did they ever win as a wild card? I'm trying to. Oh no. Okay. Yeah. They beat Green Bay when Green Bay was 15-1, and I want to say they were 9-7. So yeah. Seattle Super Bowl year, they weren't a wild card team. They weren't a wild card team. They were a really good team if I remember right. So Titans 3. Did you take it? Did you take the Titans at 3.5? That's awesome if you did. I could see taking New England, Belichick in the bill. Yeah, I could too, man. I could too. I'm gonna leave that one alone. What do I think on Tennessee on the man, I don't know. What would you get, Denver Gator? Would you get plus 150? God, I might be. I would take 3.5. Fulton's been, Fulton. I love Fulton. I didn't like the pick at 18. He hasn't lived up to being a first round pick in my opinion. Out of USC, I thought he was a solid second round pick because I liked him as a kick punt returner. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I never looked at Adoree Jackson and said he was a number 1. I always thought at best he was like a nickel punt returner, but getting him and Fulton back for the playoffs is huge because ultimately, who are you looking at and beating Kansas City? Who are you looking at to advance the Super Bowl? You got to beat Kansas City. So what do you need? You need defensive backs. Fulton was the kid that shied away from contact his last year in college. No. That wasn't Fulton. That was a lot of people felt that was. He ended up getting drafted by Cleveland, and he's been injured all year. And I really like him as a player. No, that's not it. It wasn't Fulton. You're thinking of the other guy, and I'm drawing a blank. He was a safety from LSU, and I'm drawing a complete blank on the guy's name. But he's been injured all year, But next year when he comes back, he's going to when he comes back and Greedy Williams comes back, that's going to be very interesting because Cleveland's playing this good without Greedy Williams and whoever this guy is. I'm just drawing a blank on. But no, that's not Kristen Fulton. That was not Kristen Fulton. That was the other guy. And Grant Delpit. I'm sorry, it took me a while. That was Grant Delpit. Grant Delpit was accused of doing that. I didn't think he did, but a lot of people thought that he wasn't really putting 100% into it because he was going into his senior year. He was going to be like a top 10 pick. He ended up going in the second round. Kristen Fulton wasn't that guy, though. I was surprised Kristen Fulton lasted into the second round because I feel like he's going to be a good NFL corner. I don't think he's going to be great, but he's a guy that you can plug in. He was a plug and play guy, but he's never going to be elite. Adoree Jackson's a good nickel guy. Now they need to bring in another number one corner. And Tennessee needs some help on the defense, but getting these two guys really helps Tennessee a lot. I'd say take Tennessee trying to win the division. They would be motivated. You're 100% right, Music City guy. Just keep in mind Green Bay's trying for the 1 seed, which you only get a bye if you're the 1 seed, and that's huge for Green Bay. So Green Bay has a lot to play for. One of the worst calls, the refs clearly moved the ball against the Falcons. Not that it matters, but they clearly gave them a first down. Now we're talking. Are you talking? You're talking in the Super Bowl, and I remember that, and I remember thinking the same thing. One of the worst calls. Also, I'm gonna stop the rant short, but the Pittsburgh-Seattle Super Bowl, there was like 5 calls like that. That was without question the worst Super Bowl I've ever seen in my life. So Tennessee plus 3.5. I love it. I actually like that. I really do. I'm taking the Derrick Henry rush prop. I'm taking the Derrick Henry prop. Malcolm Butler has been playing really well. He had a few bad games, really good recently. Malcolm Butler can play, man. I like Malcolm Butler. Here's the thing. Malcolm Butler at his best, Adoree Jackson at his best, Kristen Fulton at his best. None of those guys are legitimate number one guys. Kansas City doesn't have a number one guy, so you're in good shape. If those 3 are my starting 3 corners, I feel pretty good. The problem is that you need more than just Simmons and Harold Landry up front. So Justin Jefferson's good. I'm wrong about this, and I'm right about this. I thought that the Bills should have took Justin Jefferson, but I said Justin Jefferson was going to have a better year than Stephon Diggs. I'm wrong about that, but I also am right because if I'm the Bills, I would rather have Justin Jefferson and a rookie contract than Diggs and $75 million. Because I think Justin Jefferson building with Josh Allen is better than Diggs established with Josh Allen. That's just my opinion. And by the way, Funk, you're right. And here's the thing with Justin Jefferson. He was the number 2 receiver at LSU. Jamar Chase was the number 1. That's why I think he's going to go number 3 to Cincinnati, not the tackle. No, random. But you're right. He was that guy who weighed like 37 pounds, kind of like the Fulton was a guy. He was actually a pretty solid corner at LSU. He didn't have a great game against Bama. I think Jerry Jeudy ripped him up, and he had Jerry Jeudy ripped him. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm kind of going all over the place here. I'll get settled here in a second, but he's not built like Cameron Dantzler, but he really free-falled through the draft because almost everybody had him going in the first round, and he just kept on falling and falling and falling. But he's a good player. And Grant Delpit, Greedy Williams looked like he weighed 37 pounds. And Greedy Williams and Grant Telpett, they're both out this year for Cleveland. When they come back healthy with Denzel Ward, that's a good secondary. Cleveland has some good pieces going forward. So all this, by the way, was more due to John Dorsey than it is for whoever's in charge now. Whoever is in charge now has Grant Telpett, may or may not pan out because he missed all this year. Okay, you're talking to ref. You're talking this week. I didn't get a chance to see that game, so I'm sorry, Golden Rooster. You're talking. I think I know what you're talking about. I didn't see the game. I think I know what you're talking about. Who do you think deserved to be named a Pro Bowl? Hawkinson or Tanyan? You can make a case for both. I would have taken Hawkinson because Hawkinson is more of a weapon than Tanyan. Tanyan's just the guy that Rodgers hooks up with for touchdowns, and that's my opinion. You can use Hawkinson for more things. That's just me. That's just me. I think it's Hawkinson. I get why some people complained. And then Evan Ingram for the Giants, I get why people complained about him too. But now I'm confused. Fulton. No. Greedy Williams was okay. Greedy Williams was really, really skinny. Fulton was about 6 foot, but he was a solid like 185, 190. Greedy Williams was like really skinny. Greedy Williams was like a Dantzler, but Greedy Williams was from 2 years ago. I didn't think Fulton wore number 1 for LSU last year, but Greedy Williams was really, really skinny. And even though I had him rated as the number 1 corner, he went in the second round to Cleveland. But no, Fulton was pretty solid if I remember right. I could be wrong, but Fulton was one of those 5-star players who started as a freshman, really, really good player. But he was never great. Jerry Jeudy took advantage of him. But I think you got him. I think you're thinking of Greedy Williams. All right. Now, I haven't placed any bets yet. No, I remember Greedy argued with so many people that wanted him in Detroit. Okay. I didn't think Fulton I thought it was pretty solid. Greedy Williams didn't like the tackle. Yeah, Greedy Williams didn't like the tackle. I actually think that in the future, Greedy Williams with Denzel Ward is going to be a pretty good combo as far as corners are concerned. So, Bulls got Pro Bowl snub, best LT this year. It's because the Broncos suck. I think Hawk and Funyuns both should have gone. I don't think Bowles deserved a Pro Bowl, but he's really improved. Chiefs fans don't think Eric Fisher should have gone. I think he's played his best season here in Kansas City. If Denver was 13-1 and Kansas City was 5-8, then there's a chance Bowles goes and Fisher doesn't. I wouldn't call him best left tackle, but I am surprised because he's played a lot better this year. Funk, that's about right. Yeah, okay. I remember Fulton being a little more put together than that, but this is the whole reason we have the show, so I can learn about these things. Music City guy, or do you think Fulton's one of those guys who makes business decisions? He's not very physical, because that's something I have a really, really hard time believing that. I'm drawing a blank on the head coach's name. I can't believe I'm doing this. That's like the 5th time this show I've drawn a blank on the name. But anyway, that's interesting. I didn't have that opinion of him, but it's interesting to think that you guys thought that. All right. Now, I remember Cam Dantzler coming out. Yeah. Now, Cam Dantzler was like 6'2", and I think he weighed like 183, but he looked like he was 37 pounds. Marquez Pope, I love that guy, super skinny. Yeah, I remember Marquez Pope. But yeah, Cam Dantzler was a guy. It's like, man, they need to get this guy some sandwiches because I kept on having Dantzler going to Buffalo with Tre'Davious White because I remember Tre'Davious White coming out looked really skinny, and I'm like, Buffalo's the perfect spot for him. And I thought Dantzler joining him would also be really good. I think Dantzler will also get things turned around in Minnesota. It'll just not this offseason. But yes, they need to give Dantzler some damn food. Here are some of my I have not made it. I have not made a bet yet. I have not made one single bet yet. I might put action on that Tennessee Green Bay over. This one I'm looking at Miami -3 at Vegas. This is a big one. This is probably one I'm going to put action on. I really want to check out the injury report. Seattle -1 against the Rams. I got action on it regardless, but I like this one. Plus, Seattle's getting a little healthier. This could be really good. Kelsey receptions and yards, and Mahomes passing yards, maybe rushing yards. Remember, if they win, these two aren't playing next week. David Montgomery rush yards and Derrick Henry. These are bets. So you're looking at maybe 7 to 8 bets this weekend. If you guys need some help, I will have my phone on. I'm not doing a show Friday. I'm also not working this Saturday. I'm just going to enjoy my Saturday watching football. But if you want some help Saturday, make sure you get me early before I shut my phone off. So right before the first game, I will hit the gym. I will be available. Just get me before the game because after the game start, my phone goes off. So just if you need some help, just let me know. Fangio declared Greedy can't or won't tackle, and he wasn't even considered. Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, but Greedy Williams did have that reputation at LSU. He was actually my number one corner. He was my number one corner, and I thought he had all the tools. And I thought going to Cleveland in the second round was a great move because he's opposite Denzel Ward, who also meant that same thing. But yeah, I agree with you, Denver Gator. He actually could grow into a solid DB. He's out this year, and then Grant Telpit is also out, and those two guys could be really special on the Cleveland Browns. So I mean, the Cleveland Browns in the 20s have a bright future. So all Greedy needs to do is the desire to hit. He could be a stud. He's great. Yeah, I thought so too. He's out for the whole year. I want to say it's a knee. I don't remember. And used to say to guys, you met Fulton. I didn't think he was 160. Okay, fine. I find it really surprising that you guys thought that about Kristen Fulton. I thought that about Greedy Williams. I didn't think that about Kristen Fulton. I'm kind of surprised that you guys think that. But yeah, Greedy Williams, I thought was skinny, didn't like the hit. People also said that same issue about Delpit because he had a bad senior season, but I think he still won the Jim Thorpe Award for defensive back. But he made a lot of business decisions his last year in college. And but both him and Greedy Williams, when they come back next year for the Browns, could really be pretty good. Lions fans have tried to tell me Greedy would be great in Detroit. Hurt my. He would not have been great under Patricia's scheme. He would not be good under Patricia's scheme. No, Funk. I have a hard time believing anybody. I don't get that at all, man. I literally don't get that at all. The only thing the only defense I could say for those guys is that he has good man cover skills, which is important, but he did not like the hit. That was like one of the bottom. Wait, Stephen Gilmore, great man guy, always was physical. It would hurt my brain too, man. It would hurt my brain too. That makes no sense to me. So anyway, Are we not? Hey, are we going to discuss college bowl games? Not tonight. Maybe next. Yes, I'm going to go over. Next week, I'm going to go over the main bowl games. I'm not going to go over all of them. And the only reason why Denver Gators, I'm not an expert on college football. Hey, look, you followed over undergirl just like I do. I'll put my picks over against over undergirl. Any handicapper that you find, I'll match them. I'll match my football knowledge with them. Of course, you know the over undergirl does all sports, does all things. Her branding, her marketing, that her gift knowledge is phenomenal. My football knowledge, I'll top her on football knowledge. I will top her on football knowledge. My football knowledge is on par. College football, however, I'm pretty limited. I did want to touch base, though, that I think that my Final Four would have been Alabama, Clemson, Cincinnati, and A&M. I think Cincinnati and A&M got screwed. And I think that Cincinnati and A&M should be 3 and 4. And the only reason they're not is money. That's the one and only reason. They are more deserving. I know. I'm telling you right now, I think Cincinnati would beat Ohio State. And I'm pretty sure A&M would beat Notre Dame. And here's the thing. Let's say you put those two teams in. There are some really, really good bowl games. But absolutely. Hey, man. Hey, dude, listen, hit me up on Twitter, man. But next week we'll talk a little bit, not too much. And the reason why is that I stick with being an expert on NFL, and I back it up with my bet slips, and that I'm going to make a profit this year. And I'll make a big profit if I can get Seattle to win the division. But yeah. So many mocks had him to Detroit too. I kept telling him if it's a CB, it's a damn kid. Arizona took. God, who did Arizona take that year? I'm drawing a blank. It was. You're not. I know it's not Buda Baker. Buda Baker, one of my favorite players. Really liked him a lot. Who's the corner since? Who's the corner Arizona took? Was it the Bama kid? I'm drawing a blank. I know who you're talking about, and I agree. Greedy Williams didn't make any sense to Detroit, not in that system, but he does make sense to Cleveland, and he'll be the number 2 corner even when he comes back healthy because Denzel Ward is playing at a pretty damn high level. Hey, listen, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. We've been going on for a little over 2 hours. It's been a great show. I can't thank you guys enough because I work from home. I work like 5 feet away. I've been looking at this all day. I've been looking at this like, man, I can't wait. I can't wait to get here and start talking football because this is my favorite thing in the whole world. It's just talking football. And you guys have made it great because all your great comments, the trash talk, and I also want to hear different people's points of views. Anybody who needs my help for any one of the games, just shoot me an email. Some of you got my number. You can hit me up. All my social media, by the way, is below. I communicate with Denver Gator via Twitter. So you want to hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. More than happy to help. If you have problems, questions, anything for games, you can always hit me up via email at the Dan Show at Yahoo. Matter of fact, James hit me up with some really good emails about the Detroit Lions. Probably still going to avoid it, but I do like the over in that game. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Everybody let's see here. Hey, man, Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoyed the show. Thanks, guys. Yeah, man, leave a comment for the algorithm. Thanks, Denver Gator. I appreciate it. Everybody have a Merry Christmas. We'll be back next week, Wednesday. We're going to have a lot to talk about then. Hey, man, everybody have a Merry Christmas. I will see you back next week.